storyteller is new, not to storytelling, but to our 10 by 9 show. WhoIsJoeDegand, come on up.
I am a comic. I will say that proudly. Before I do this set, the thing, and it's a set, I call it a set, is because I had to learn how to make this specific part of my life funny. And it was when things were falling apart. It was terrible. The way that it started for me, I got a phone call, a regular day, I came home from work, I'm hanging out with my son upstairs, we're playing video games, the usual. And then I get a phone call from who I think is my wife, on the phone. It just comes up as her picture. I'm used to that. Maybe she's running a little bit late. I pick up the phone to find out it is not my wife. It is a police officer. She did not get in trouble. She did not do anything wrong. But he was informing me that my wife had been in a terrible car accident. Not terrible as in she hurt anybody, not terrible. I don't know why he used the word terrible. Because all she did was hit a post and nobody else, and she was fine. That's what he told me after. He said terrible. He said she's headed to Mercy right now. If you'd like to go there to meet her, I immediately yelled to my mother-in-law, who I live with, to watch the boy, please. Stuff just got very serious. When I put the GPS, to go to this hospital, where I'd never been there really, it said 30 minutes. I think I made it there in about 10. Just so you know, I'm kind of a ride or die, Lily, you understand. My wife, I've been with her for 15 years. High school sweethearts, it's one of those things. I was very shocked, scared. I get into the hospital only to see her in a neck brace in a bed. And she looks scared. Now, I married my wife because she wasn't scared. She's what I like to call a badass bitch. Okay? And seeing her like this shocked me. I was not okay. I was immediately panicking, trying to ask anyone anything. And all that they could tell me was that she might have had a seizure while she was driving. So then the wonderful world of what is a seizure happened to me, and I got to figure out that they don't know what causes seizures a lot. We can't do anything for her. We're not going to set her up on any kind of meds because we don't know what effect that will have. So then I just got to take her home. That's what we got. I had a lot of questions. Maybe we should go see a neurologist. That's the only thing that I got out of that trip. The next day, nothing. No problems. It was a very smooth day for her. She was fine. Then the day after that, which happened to be my son's birthday, he turned 5. We're on the way home from a grocery store, about to go be the best parents in the world, because we had gotten a Wii U. I was so ready. I was like, yes, I've done it this year. I've gotten the right gift. And then on the way home from the grocery store, she had a full-blown grand mal seizure in my passenger seat. And I did the thing that I learned from the ER doctor. You're just gonna have to, you don't have to restrain her, just make sure she doesn't bite her own tongue, and take care of her. And then bring her here again, if that happens. So I immediately pulled over. We're going over a bridge. There's not a lot of places to pull over. My son is handling it amazingly, way better than I am. It's not fair. He's like, is mommy okay? I'm like, yes, she's okay. She's having a seizure. This is what happened yesterday. That's why we had to go to the hospital. I'm immediately explaining everything to him. And he's just like, well, she looks really weird. I was like, yeah, she's terrifying me. That's what happened. So I immediately bring him home to my mother-in-law again. I said, please watch the boy. I have to go to the hospital. So I take my wife to the hospital. This time the ER doctor sets her up with some medicine. And what he tells me is that this medicine is going to mess her up a lot. Until we find out the amount of, she was on a drug called Keppra. Okay? It's an anti-seizure drug. But here's the problem. The side effects to the drug are very similar to the symptoms of really messed up seizures. So watch closely. Things are gonna get rough. And so for the next 2 weeks, now she's on medicine. She didn't have any seizures. Things didn't get weird until way later. Eventually, she started losing her memory. She could not understand where she was. Her boss was telling her she can come in if she wants to, and this badass bitch is going to work. She's telling me, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm panicking, calling my mother who lives in Arizona, saying she is definitely not fine, Mom. You are a nurse. Tell her she's not fine. She told her things are weird, seizures, we don't know what they are. So we wait for my insurance company to clear an MRI, which in case you didn't know, takes too fucking long. Especially when you're trying to figure out what's wrong with your wife. Badass bitch, ride or die. So I immediately, we set up all these appointments. She has a day of testing. This is the next step, right? So she's about to go in for an EEG, an MRI. They were gonna check out her thyroid for some reason, who knows? And while she's coming out of her, I bring her in there. She's basically, the night before, they told me I have to keep her awake. She's not allowed to sleep, so that she sleeps during the EEG, that's a thing. And then also, just make sure she doesn't eat too much, in case she throws up a lot. Which I'm like, what is that? All right, this sounds fun. This is gonna be a rough night. So I kept her awake, I brought her in for all of her appointments. As soon as she sat up from the EEG being over, she has a full-blown seizure again in the hospital. This time, everybody thinks it's a big problem. Last time, I got told we don't know. We don't know what's up. So she's having a seizure, and then I see 6 doctors come into the room. Just more lab coats, more lab coats. They try to put her on a crash cart. All 6 doctors don't know how to work a goddamn crash cart. One Filipino nurse comes in, has that thing locked, stocked, and ready to rock. She just drops it down, pulls my wife over by herself. And I'm Filipino, so I'm like, yeah! Yeah! You can't tell I'm Filipino, it's a thing. My mother's maiden name is Bella. I don't know why I need to share that part. But so the next part of my life is finding out that my wife has a 5-centimeter mass in her brain. I found this out from an ER doctor with terrible bedside manner. Okay? This is what happens. I go into the room, she's laying there, they have her very drugged up. She's giving in with the results of this MRI. And he says, your wife has a 5-centimeter mass in her brain. I am so sorry. And then he leaves the room. That was it, me with her mom and her sister. And this guy had no idea what to tell me. And I felt bad for him because I just wanted some stats. Can I get like a 70-30? Is she gonna be okay at the end of this? I've seen ER just a little bit, like I heard they say stats. That's not what they meant when they said stats. Get over here, this shit's serious. And then while this was all going on, I am immediately trying to think in my mind, oh, good luck making this funny. Good luck, because this is the worst. And then I found little nuggets, and this is the part where, for me, this is where healing began, because I was there for like 3 months. As a stand-up comic, if you take that time off, that is hard. It is so hard, because you have to come back to it again, and then you have to try and then not do this stuff that you want to talk about, which is this. This is what I wanted to talk about for the longest time, and I couldn't. And the immediate part for me was, while she was in surgery, there was nothing else. Like, I didn't care about work. I didn't show up. I just told them, hey guys, real talk, I can't come in. More important things than you or this store. So then she gets to the point where she has a surgery. And I now know why everything is compared to it ain't brain surgery. Because brain surgery is really messed up, and someone tells you your wife might die. Yeah, a couple of times. Someone also said, make a lot of memories, which is terrible to say to someone who's grieving. She had the surgery, and it was on Mother's Day, which is also an awful way to spend Mother's Day. But it was probably my favorite Mother's Day. It would probably be her least favorite, I'm pretty sure. By the way, she's okay. Now, I held that off because in my stand-up, that was the first thing that I realized I needed to do for people was comfort them. So the way I start that bit usually is just a thing where I say, oh, and by the way, she's fine. She's gonna be okay. But it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay for a long time. I had to find things to laugh at. And one of the first things I found to laugh at was while we were in the ICU the night before surgery, I go into the bathroom and happen to notice one thing two machines hanging on the wall. Okay, there's a tampon machine. I understand why that is there. Okay. The next thing is a condom machine. Now, if you're wondering, it was a quarter. 25-cent condom. But that was the thing, is I bought one. It was just for the story. I wasn't going to use it. She was really messed up. It would have been terrible. She had memory loss, like I said. Like, she could have woken up, you know, a couple months later, and the doctor's just telling her, by the way, you're pregnant. They just both look at me like, oh. So I held off. She had surgery. On the day of surgery, the doctor, his name is Sami, and I would forever, to the end of time, offer this man fellatio if he would accept it. He's earned it. Yes! Just in case you want to fillet your surgeon later. That's right. It's a bird, right? But that's the thing, is like, he came out 2 hours early and he came out with a smile on his face. And that was I immediately, happiness just washed over me. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Whatever he has to say to me, I don't care. And he came out and he told me, it's going to be a long, hard road out of hell for your wife. We're talking 6 months. She might go crazy. She may also not be the same person. She may also be handicapped from now on. Like, she may not have access to the left side of her body from now on. And I immediately started dealing with that. I'm like, I don't care. She's okay, right? She's alive? I don't care. He's like, yes, she's fine. She'll be able to talk to you in a little bit. She might not remember who you are or what your name is, but she is fine. It was an abscess. It's just a pus. Like 5 centimeters. And there's the thing about brain abscesses, you guys, they never figure out what caused them. And like 97%, I believe, of all brain abscesses, they never figure it out. Oh, maybe it was strep, is what I heard. Strep, like my kid had strep last week? Strep, like what the fuck? Strep. Strep, that's all it was. And then, so when all this is happening, she gets out of the hospital, she's fine, it's great. I start doing stand-up again. I start talking about it on stage, which is probably not a good idea, but I needed that. That was my therapy. And I just made people deal with it. But then on top of that, and this is when it gets weird, because on top of that, I'm celebrating that my wife is fine. She's great. And then 3 months later, I find out that my sister died of a heroin overdose. So then you have this thing where you're feeling like, oh, this is better than what it was 6 months ago. Oh, no. Hey, buddy, shit's still real. You may be fronted with this. And then immediately, my cocky friends who had seen me performing all this stuff then asked me, like, okay, so how do you make your sister dying funny? I don't know if I need to do that. But I wrote a bit. I have never done it before because it's terrible to do that to an audience, but I'm going to do it to you guys. And this is what happened. Okay, so my sister, when that happened, everybody told me, oh, she's going to be looking down on you. She's going to look out for you. I said, and I told them, you know she died of a heroin overdose. Pretty sure most people that die of heroin overdoses don't get to just watch you from up top. I don't know where they're situated in the height, but up top. And I didn't realize I don't really want her watching me. Because I'm a married man who sometimes masturbates in the bathroom. I don't want her to see me like that. Please never tell me that my sister is watching me. I'm really grossed out. And that's it. So when things are falling apart, the way that I have to deal with it, and the way that I found out what I have to do to make myself better, is to make a joke about it. That's what I did. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mrs. Jug. Yeah.
Our last storyteller of the night is one of our favorites here, Herb Levinson. Come on up.
All right.